I think this film as a whole is definitely the darkest film that I've ever been involved in. I mean, it's Potter has a lot of dark moments, but there was so much comedy and light relief and romance and things for people to, so it wasn't just unmitigated darkness for 2.5 hours, which this film kind of is in some ways. I mean, it's an hour and a half of keeping the audience in a state of tension for the whole time. In terms of the part, there are a few kind of differences in that. Obviously, I'm playing a father in this film, playing a little bit older than myself, not that much. I mean, I think I was 21 when I shot it, and I think we put him at around 25, so it's not a huge leap to make. But so yeah, there were a few, and also this is the first, this is the least verbal part I've ever had. I mean, there's about 20 minutes in the middle of this film with no dialogue, and it's just me walking around this house, and I have to say it's also the most compelling, exciting 20 minutes of the film. So there's, and I don't take any credit for that, that's our director. I suppose those were some of the main challenges with this film, was playing a character. Also, I have very high energy, I'm quite a hyperactive kind of person. So to play a character that has such low energy all the time, who's the kind of light has been taken out of him by the circumstances of his life. And so he has very little energy and is kind of in a state of depression, which I think leads to a kind of sense of fatigue and exhaustion. Just because in talking to a few of my friends who suffer from depression, the theme that comes up again and again is just how exhausting it is. How, it is an effort to get out of bed in the morning. And that's kind of where you find my character at the beginning of the film. There was lots of good, different stuff to explore and challenge me, and working with James Watkins, our director, on that stuff was one of the most fun parts of the whole film.
Next question right here.
Hi, this is from Mariah Garcia. A lot of people and actors fall in love when they're making love movies. Did you yourself ever get scared in the making of this?
I'm not sure. I mean, I don't think it's one of those awful things. People say, did anything funny happen or did anything scary happen, and you just want to go, well, no, but we had a good time still. In terms of anything scary, the only thing that came close to something actually scary happening was I was walking around the house we were filming in one day, and I just happened to walk past the room, and as I just in the periphery of my vision, I just glimpsed the woman in black for a second, and then I looked back and it was just Liz White, who plays the woman in black in costume eating a sandwich. Those scary moments are generally kind of balanced out. I also, the other question I've been getting asked a lot in relation to this film is, do I believe in ghosts? And I'm really, really starting to believe that I did. I'm starting to wish that I did, because I don't have any belief in the supernatural, but I'm getting asked about it a lot, so I think I might have to make up some stories.
In the right over here, what's your name?
Hi, I'm Jessica Sherwin. I was just wondering, you've been playing Harry Potter for so long, and do you ever find yourself reverting back to some of the tendencies you had playing him as an actor in this movie?
Well, no, fortunately not. That's a great question. Fortunately, I don't. I was very worried when I came to see the film finally, because I spent a lot of time looking quite frightened as Harry. That's a phase I find myself in a lot in that part. And so I was worried that playing a character who is so reactive for so much of the film, and who is reacting in fear a lot of the time, that I would end up looking very similar to how I did in Potter. But I was relieved to find, at least in my mind, that I don't think I do. I think I look very different than people have seen me look before. I think just having the glasses off, it makes a huge difference. Yeah, so it's
pretty cute.
But so yeah, I mean, trying to think what else. I mean, it's something you're very concerned about, particularly when you're moving on and you're. I think it's fair to say that most actors, when they're my age and are still learning their profession, would tend to be on stage more than on film, and so it's you don't really have a sense of what you do because you don't watch yourself. Whereas on Potter, it's something that I've become very conscious of, is wanting to, change how I look, wanting to, it's a different character. He has a different set of responses, a different set of, visually it should be a different feel. And I think I have, it's maybe not as good as I would like, but I've achieved something towards that goal, certainly.
Right here, what's your name?
Hey, I'm Emma. So my question, it's not related to the movie, but what's the craziest fan experience that you've ever had?
There've been a few actually. There were some quite good ones. There was actually a very good one recently when this young guy came to the theatre when we were doing our show, and Alan Rickman has just opened in a show down the road. And this guy came up to the stage door saying to everybody, "I'm Alan Rickman's son, and I'm here to meet Daniel." And Alan doesn't have any kids. So I was kind of like, oh, okay. And so he was and then he spent the next sort of 2 hours trying to find different ways of getting into the theatre, to the point where he eventually just bought a ticket and came in and saw the show. So that was kind of cool. We had, I've had people attempt to jump into the car after I got in, sometimes through the door, sometimes through the window. The craziest ever was when I was, I think, 12 or 13, and I was doing a press tour for the second Harry Potter film, and I went to Japan, and that was, that was crazy. I arrived there at the airport, and there were 5,000 people waiting in the arrivals lounge. So I remember as a 13-year-old being quite intimidated by that.
It was your Beatles moment, Daniel.
Take all that stuff in stride. It was a bit of a Beatles moment, and it's pretty cool. Not everybody gets one of them, so that's kind of cool.
Next person, make sure you speak as loud as you can. What's your name?
Hi, my name's Liz Sarakis. I have a bit of a random question, but what do you regret about not getting a typical high school experience?
Well, I mean, I think I have, I don't regret the fact that I was not subjected to that, that's not an issue. I really don't feel like I missed out on much. I actually feel like my education, when I was at school, I was very excited and very enthusiastic and very nice, but just terrible at all of it. I couldn't, academically I was, below average, I would say. And in terms of sport and any of that stuff, just way below average. So there was nothing really there that I enjoyed. I enjoyed, getting to school and dossing about, but I didn't really do any work. Then on Potter, I was suddenly in a world where I was being tutored one-to-one, and one of the wonderful things about that, about my environment, was that it was one-to-one tuition, so that there's one of you in the class rather than 20, so all your teacher's time is with you, so that if you find something interesting, you don't have to just do what's on the curriculum. You can, if you find something interesting, you can go off on a tangent and learn about that for a while. And so it was a much more natural, more exciting way of learning. And it kind of, I think, engendered a love of knowledge and curiosity generally. And when I did go back to school, I hated it. So I was very, very glad to be away from all that and to be on Potter, and I lucked out. I got the best job in the world at the age of 11. So it's it's hard to talk about high school or anything like that, because I don't want to make you jealous, because I don't really realize you all had to do all that stuff.
And it worked out well for you.
I had to go have a great time. Yeah, I did.
Question right over here. What's your name?
Hi, Mr. Radcliffe. I'm Vanessa. How specifically did you have to prepare differently for a horror film than you have for your other films, such as the fantasy ones?
I don't think that the genre that a film falls into necessarily plays a part in the preparation. It was mainly that I think, when you're doing ostensibly a horror film, there are certain things you want to make sure of. First and foremost, which is that, when I read the script, my immediate reaction was that this is not just a horror film. This could be a lot more than that. It could have the potential to be moving, and it's character driven. So it's not just an exercise in freaking people out and scaring people. It also got a very honest, emotional part as well, which is very important in any film if you want to care about the characters. So I suppose one of the only things in terms of preparation was to make sure that James Watkins, the director, and I were on the same page regarding that. I mean, I met him and we had exactly the same kind of vision for the film. And so, but I don't think there was any particular preparation that I did, because this was horror. I didn't warm up my screaming voice or anything like that. And also, you're all being very, very polite and calling me Mr. Radcliffe, by the way, but you really don't have to.
Well, I was going to say, we're midway through, and Daniel, I think you'll back me up. You've obviously been to a lot of junkets. A compliment to you guys. You guys are going to be fine in journalism. You guys are asking great questions, so big hand to you guys.
We really, really are.
Yeah.
We really are, and I have to say, it's very rare that I ever get questions that I haven't been asked before, and I think we've already had 2 or 3, so congratulations.
Hats off to you guys.
Thank you.
It's a lot of pressure over there. Keep the good questions going. What's your name?
Hi, I'm Haley. I was wondering, if you hadn't become an actor, what career path do you think you would have gone on?
Oh.
Is that your stump look, Daniel? Is that the stump look?
What was that? Sorry, say that again?
Is that your stump look? You look stumped there for a second.
Yeah, it was. Well, here's the thing, it's because when you talk to most actors and say, why did you end up doing this? I think 90% of them will tell you it's because we couldn't do anything else. There is very little that we can contribute to society other than what we do. So I don't know what would become me. I would have had a horrible time at school. I would have failed miserably in probably a lot of my exams, and not had a very nice time. I don't know. I mean, if I had to pick now another profession outside of the film industry, I would start all again and be an archaeologist. That would be like, if I could spend my days knee-deep in mud, digging up little bits of flint around, sites in rural England, I'd be very, very happy now.
Next question, what's your name over here?
Jackie, I was wondering, how do you
By the way, that's
cast in this
I don't
movie?
mind, but if those freaks are watching the game, it's not going to happen.
We had a great time. I've always been very, very lucky to work with lovely casts, and this film was no exception. We had Kieran Hines, who obviously I'd worked with a little bit on Potter, and then by the time we came to reshoot his scene as Aberforth, we had worked with each other for 12 weeks on Woman in Black, so we got to know each other quite well over sort of that 4-month period. So Kieran's great. Kieran's probably the person I had the most to do with. Janet Mattia is a wonderful, wonderful actress, but she was only, I think she said this was the